and thanks for staying with us. The Nigerian Senate has urged the customs to continue to put more effort to generate more revenue for the country. Also on customs reports, Apapa Customs Area Controller speaks of revenue generation of the command. Plus, more report. I am Egiseme Itinye. Stay tuned. The National Assembly members and also committee members of customs said the customs management should continue to put more effort to generate more revenue for the nation. The committee also commended the customs management for a job well done.
But if the money projected is not released, as we have seen in 2023, we are still coming to the same level. So I want you to maybe brief us a bit, and if you need the support of our members here, this committee is very tough with leaders that are here. And everybody knows the importance of sourcing fund instead of borrowing. And if we are having Nigerian Customs Service as one of the major sources of fund, I think the Senate, not even this committee alone, is interested in making sure that you succeed in this your projection very, very well. The second one is what our leaders talk about. These are our imported used vehicles. If you go to some of us that go to Kutonu area, I don't know what we can do to make a lot of money that Nigerians are supposed to make are just going to other countries. If there's a way of making this importation to come officially through our port, it will help us a lot.
Of course, you made mention of concession as well. I really want you to elaborate further this issue of revenue loss and the import duty exemption certificates and the concession as well. It's really key to us. We want to know in depth what's going on, why this, well, you made mention of 2 trillion on concession alone.
The customs boss who attended the session with top members of the service has this to say at the budget presentation in Abuja.
For the exchange rate in computing our targets and that of vehicles. I think we need to put some clarity into the issue of vehicles. Distinguished Senator, what we said was that we have seen over the years that despite the fact that our borders were officially closed, at least in 2019, for almost 20 months, our borders were officially closed. And even when it was reopened, we still restricted the importation of certain goods from the ports, from the borders. But despite that, we know that several vehicles have been imported, smuggled through these places. We see them in car marts, people drive them, and customs maintain checkpoints, and we stop them. And we always get, all these explanations that, oh, I didn't know it was smuggled and things like that. So what we are trying to do with this initiative is to grant some waivers to owners of such vehicles so that within that window that you talked about, once we get the approval, we could say for the next 3 months, if you are in possession of vehicles that are illegally imported to the country or that have not paid duties, you have this opportunity to go to a customs house and go for assessment and payment of duty. Of course, as you suggested, there will be massive publicity that would accompany such a policy so that those who find themselves in that situation can get their vehicles, can regularize the importation through payment of duties. The next issue, which was raised by you and my brother from Kogi, also has to do with the exchange rate. I am equally pained by the volatility in the exchange rate regime. In fact, even if it stays high and people can predict, that this is what it will take me to clear, perhaps it's not particularly too bad. But when, it's so volatile, today it is X, tomorrow it is X plus 10 or X plus 20, it does not make for adequate planning and things like that. So, correctly, it is the mandate of the Central Bank of Nigeria to fix the rate, either the one that we use under MTEV or the one that we use for importation or the one for payment of customs duty. So I have been in discussions with my minister, perhaps what we are going to advocate is that there would be a kind of a meeting point between authorities of government that are in charge of monetary policies and those that are in charge of fiscal policies. Personally, what I think we can do is to get a kind of a spot rate for a period of time. We can agree that maybe for Q1 2024, this should be the spot rate for the purpose of payment of customs duty. Or we could say for the first half, we define the period, and then we all agree that this should be the spot rate for payment of customs duty. But I must say, this is what I feel. And consultations are still in progress, but let me make it very, very clear, abundantly clear, that it is not customs that sets these rates. These rates are determined by authorities that are in the monetary policy. The rates are set, and they send it to us for implementation. But because we are also Nigerians, and we know that it is not just that people will find it difficult to pay, it will also affect the quantity, the quantum of cargo that is brought into the country. We showed you in 2023 that the cargo throughputs are reduced by as much as 30%. And some of the reasons for this was because of the exchange rate variance in the second half of 2023. Now, we also have the question regarding how we are going to be rewarding our officers. I can assure you that we have actually started. In the last quarter of the year, we actually identified some of our officers who did well, and special promotions were given to such officers. Reward may not necessarily be monetary. There could be a number of other ways in which we could reward our officers. I'm happy about the issue of local contents, which the distinguished senator raised. And I've always been very, very passionate about protecting what is ours in Nigeria. I believe that we have the capacity to grow the kind of rice that we need to feed Nigerians. Beyond rice, I believe that we must take very, very seriously the issue of food security. So our trade policy, our tariff policy, our fiscal policy must be such that they would be protective of this critical sector in Nigeria. But it's not just enough for us to reduce the tariff rates. It's not just enough for us to say we put a high tariff to protect those industries. So it has to be a careful mixture of all these policies. If you put if you put tariff rates that are too high, it could begin to encourage smuggling, and then there will be non-compliance. We're just coming from the problems that we have with the banning of 43 items from accessing Forex in the last 3-4 years. And this distorted trade in Nigeria, because Nigerians are importing these items, but they are, declaring them wrongly. So our trade data, was distorted on account of this. We were not getting the revenue, and yet we are putting this kind of policy in place. Our revenue loss due to concession was explained. Maybe I think I would request DCG Tariff and Trade, once I finish, to give you further details on this particular issue. My distinguished senator from Osun, it's very interesting when you hear leaders calling other people leaders. So we wouldn't know. Okay, special leader. Okay. We appreciate the observations that you have made. Regarding the release of funds to implement our budget and what we are going to do differently, I'm happy to announce that we have actually started doing things differently with the level of engagement and the collaboration which the leadership of the committee has provided. The understanding that we also enjoy from this committee is also appreciated, and we'll continue to appreciate and rely on those understanding and support. One of the major things that you see, the difference that you see in this was the fact that the budget for 2023 was not approved for implementation until around May last year. So now we are in February. I remember that as far back as December, the chairman of the committee and the chairman of the House Committee, House of Representatives, have requested that we could actually finish this process before we went for Christmas. We were unable to do it in Christmas, and that's why, you know, as soon as we came back, consultations have started, and we are where we are. So I thank the Senate Committee chairman, and I want to plead that we will reciprocate this kind of understanding and support that we have from them. Okay, IDEC is from distinguished Senator Fadi, but then he also talked about engaged officially. I think the issue is about IDEC, and I think Senator Musa, DCJ Musa, we address it.
Voice of man, the voice of God.
I'm happy about the reference to the Nigeria Customs Service Act, which has made it easy for us to do a number of things. In terms of the group life insurance, well, we have made provisions for it now in 2024 budget, and I'm assuring you that we are going to implement it. We don't pray that our officers will be killed, but you know, we never know when such things happen. We would make adequate provisions for them. So yet another significant milestone is reached today as we commence the TRS in Nigeria, with Tinkan Island Port serving as our pilot location. The TRS method is a systematic and standardized approach used to measure the total duration of time from the arrival of goods at the customs border until they are released. This initiative represents a critical step in our ongoing efforts to optimize the trading experience and customs operations in Nigeria. It is a strategic endeavor aimed at promoting how we facilitate trade, ensure alignment with international best practices, and contributing substantially to national development. It plays a crucial role in assessing and enhancing trade facilitation by providing detailed insights into its efficiency and processes. Our dynamic and rapidly changing environment requires very swift and adaptable responses to the needs as they arise. Adopting a scientific and data-driven approach is therefore paramount, not only for customs administration, but also for all stakeholders involved in international trade. With the complexities of modern trade, international evaluation methods more often fall short in accurately identifying bottlenecks and inefficiencies across the entire trading environment. This methodology that we are using offers a systematic and precise alternative, enabling us to identify areas for improvement with accuracy.
The Apapa Area Controller of the Land Customs Service has been speaking on the revenue generation of the command. He said that Apapa will continue to implement policies that will help the nation's maritime industry to grow.
What we first know is that ports all over the world, including Nigeria, work 24 hours. The only thing that is making some ports not to work for 24 hours is the security aspect of it. And also, when you also look at it, port is not made up of only custom officers. Our officers here work 24 hours. But you can't say the same thing for other sister agencies. But as for our own, we continue. If you bring in your vessel 1 a.m., 2 a.m., we board it for you. Legitimate trade, like I said earlier, we do everything to encourage those who do legitimate trade. And how do we do that to ensure that they clear their cargo seamlessly? Now, on all those legitimate trade, ban items, we just mentioned tramadol, and other illicit trade. What we do, we have our intelligence on ground. that give us intelligence on them on a daily basis. And we also have what I may not be able to reveal here, but there's a way we follow them. And you see, by the time somebody will just mention the siege of Tramadol, 21.6 billion, for somebody to lose that, it means a lot. So what we do to discourage them is that, like I mentioned earlier when I was handing over that, I say one thing I can assure them, if they bring them in 10 times through APA, we seize them 10 times. Because we have intelligence on ground. We work with virtually all the agencies here, and we have all our collaboration with them. And besides, we also have our internal intelligence operatives who source for intelligence. And as the CAC here, I also have where I get my own intelligence. So there are different network of intelligence avenues that we have to ensure that no illicit trade finds its way into Apapa. I want to use this opportunity to warn all those involved in those trades that they should stay clear of our port because they won't have anywhere to go. There's no hidden place for them here.
You are watching the program Customs Report. Since the appointment of the current Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, freight forwarders in the maritime industry has continued to commend the service and also commend the management of Nigerian Customs Service for doing a nice job.
There are various challenges, operational challenges, that is militating against cargo clearance. You agree with me that it hasn't been very good in the industry. We have lots of challenges vis-a-vis the fact that consignments, even when released, are either stopped by one agency or the other, and there has never been collaboration. And to a larger extent, the level of compliance has been increasing because we've been preaching on compliance. But the issue of compliance is a two-way thing, and so thank God we now have a proper officer as the Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service who knows what it means when it talks about trade facilitation and the issue of compliance. So we are going to collaborate with this present CGC to make sure that it's a win-win thing, a win-win for government and also for us who are in private sector. I should be able to deliver my cargo to my importers at when due, haven't paid all the duties, and if the trade must be facilitated. And the Nigerian Customs Service on our own part should ensure that the issue of trade facilitation is brought to front burner, which is one of the cardinal points that this CGC has said in one of his visits to some of the commands within the Western Port.
Yeah, the CG has been to some ports and some other areas in the country since he came on board. Are they striking statement he made in the course of his visit that will make you freight forwarders very comfortable? Or are there areas that you think you need to improve on from the previous one to make the area freight forwarders comfortable?
Yes, let me give it to him that all these policy statements are what people have actually anticipated. It shows that we have a round peg in a round hole. It shows an officer who knows his onion. It shows an officer who actually rose through the ranks and he knows the rudiment of this job. Unlike the former CGC where number one is not accessible, number two, he doesn't even know the job. So now we have a CGC who knows what it takes to be a CG of customs. And hence, that was why he actually went around the various custom formations, preaching collaboration and ensuring that the level of compliance increases, and the fact that we need to synergize. In line with WCO, every customs formations and custom administration must synergize and collaborate with the customs broker to make sure that the desired result is achieved. And these are the things that he has said, enumerated on many of his many occasions that he has visited in various commands, either east, west, and north, even border station. So he has spoken extensively on the issue of trade facilitation, on the need to make sure that trade facilitation policy is brought to front burner, and the fact that when he visited Apapa the last time, I did mention the issue of encroachment of CBN on custom formations and customs policy. He also looked at it and he said yes, he concurred with us. Hence, there's need for us to take this even advocacy beyond the customs to the president of this nation.
The Federal Operational Zone A has continued to wage war against smugglers importing contraband items into the country. He urged them to always come forward to know what they can import into the country before the customs seize the consignment.
In a like manner, I also appreciate the patriotism of compliant traders, importers, exporters, and agents for their compliance with the service's extant procedures and regulations. I urge you to keep it up. Smuggling is a crime that has to do with the act of false declaration and concealment of goods, the use of unapproved routes and ports for the exportation and importation of goods, forging of customs documents, willful underpayment of custom duties, and trafficking in prohibited or restricted goods, among others. The impact of smuggling has very serious repercussions on the economy, the environment, health, and security. Thus, to restrain this trend of illegal commercial activities, there is the need for collaboration and strong partnership with other critical stakeholders through sharing of information and intelligence. In a continuous and renewed vigor to fight smuggling, we activated an enhanced intelligence gathering and information sharing mechanism, and we are able to identify some new smuggling hotspots and schemes employed by smugglers. This strategy yielded 60 seizures, worth a total duty paid value of 854,156,712 naira. The following major seizures were recorded within January 2024. 3,653 by 50 kg bags of foreign parboiled rice, equivalent to about 6.5 trailer load. 23,025 liters of premium motor spirits. 241 bales of used clothing. 1,490 kilograms of Indian hemp, otherwise known as cannabis.
The area controller in charge of Muritala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, said that the command will always apply the rule of law at the airport. He urged passengers to always come forward if they need to pay custom duty at the point of entry. He speaks more on a number of issues.
When those goods comes in, because of the synergy we had with NDLA, we had agreed to put those goods on hold for like 5 days. The airport is an environment where goods are usually cleared very fast because of the, it's not like the conventional port where it takes a lot of days. So usually when you have such goods, after 5 days or when it's not cleared, we know that it's tramadol, we usually call for evacuation. Because over the time, when we keep it, there's always pilfering. So when they pilfer, at the end of the day, you find out that they are usually being replaced with other items. So basically, getting suspects is going to be difficult. But for us, we are doing everything possible to make sure that they don't even come in. By the time we continue to arrest, I'm sure one day, to a large extent, I think it's reducing.
He said that any traveler who comes into the country without proper documentation, their consignment will be seized by the government.
Command collected revenue to the tune of 90,426,185,447 naira and 1 kobo as custom duties and other charges. In comparison to revenue collected the same period in 2022, which stood at 69,768,509,597 naira and 79 kobo. This clearly shows a progressive difference of 20,657,000,000 675,849 naira and 22 kobo, depicting an increase of 29.61% increase.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program, Customs Report, the budget report on the siege of the Nigerian Customs Service continue to present the budget as approved by the management of the Nigerian Customs Service to members of the National Assembly in Abuja. For me, Igeseme Etide, thanks for watching.